asexual, graysexual, demisexual. If somebody's asexual, how can they be polyamorous? Am I asexual? Am I graysexual? What's the difference between asexual and no libido? Do you hear these terms and wonder if they apply to you? Do you have questions about graysexuality, asexuality, the asexuality spectrum, polyamory, how the two might fit together? Hi, I'm Stephanie, or you can call me Esse. I use she and they pronouns, and I like to make videos talking about identity, privilege, polyamory, and the ways that we can dismantle the patriarchy through our interpersonal relationships. There are many people that identify as asexual or somewhere on the asexual spectrum and find themselves exploring polyamory or ethical non-monogamy. I identify as demisexual and graysexual, which are on the asexual spectrum, and I am definitely incredibly queer and polyamorous. Some people who are asexual or somewhere on the spectrum are sex repulsed or sex averse, but not everyone who's on the spectrum finds themselves repulsed by sex. I, for example, love sex and thoroughly enjoy it. When I have sex, I have a lot of stamina. I like to do it for a really long time, but I don't like to have sex very often, and I'm very particular about who I have sex with. A lot of people say that they're particular when they hear demisexual. You have to have this emotional romantic connection with someone to have a sexual attraction. A lot of people hear that and they identify with that. Another kind of relationship that shows up are queer platonic relationships. A lot of people think, isn't that just your friend? Queer platonic relationships are described as more than a friendship, but not quite an exclusive romantic relationship, but still one that has a deeply intense emotional connection or bond. For me, as a polyamorous demisexual person and someone who is very queer and kinky, sex means different things to me than it may mean to different people. A lot of people, especially cisgender heteronormative people, think of penetrative sex as sex, period. Now, there are many straight and cishet people that don't have penetrative sex, but queer people have all kinds of different sex besides penetrative sex. Thinking of penetrative sex as the end-all be-all of what is real sex, first of all, is incredibly misogynistic, but it's also incredibly cis-het normative. There's this idea within queerness that if it feels like sex, it's sex. Not to give you TMI, but I think this has to do with my autism and my sensory experiences. I'm a person who has really intense orgasms. I have them a lot, and I can have them from a lot of activities that don't involve penetration or that do involve penetration. So what counts as sex to me is a broad range of activities. To me, the point isn't really about the orgasm or what the activity is. It's about enjoying that connection and that intimacy with another person, finding something that you both enjoy, that you both consent to, that makes both of you feel good and have a good time. For me personally, that doesn't have to be tied to any one person or any one kind of relationship. I prefer to live by myself from day to day, and that way when I have someone here to be an intimate partner of mine, it's very deliberate. My space is very much catered to me, and inviting someone into my space is very personal. In this way, even though I'm not having sex every week or I'm not having sex every day, I do have multiple partners and I do have sex with multiple people. I like to call myself a slut because I find it empowering. But it really depends on how you think about it. I want to be allowed to have as deep and meaningful connections with people as is organically possible between the two of us. And sometimes that's sexual and sometimes it's not. But what's more important to me is the intimacy and the connection. Whether you identify as asexual, graysexual, demisexual, allosexual, whatever you want to call yourself, sex means different things to different people. I have my own philosophies about sex and relationships and gender, and while I love to talk about those things, I'm not necessarily trying to convince anyone to agree with me. This is more for visibility for people like myself who knew they felt like this but didn't have the vocabulary or the way to verbalize it. I put my content on the internet not to change people's minds necessarily, although that's a nice bonus if it happens. It's really just to give visibility to more marginalized people like myself. To give visibility to fatness, to queerness, to polyamory, to autism, and to showing up, getting off the relationship escalator, but still having deep, meaningful, romantic connection, and as much weird, kinky sex as you want with as many people as you want. And if as many people as you want is one people, that's cool too. And 2 people, 3 people, it doesn't matter. The point is, sexual liberation is about having the sex that you want with the people that you want, whether that number is endless or that number is 0. But it's important to do the work on yourself to really think about what you want. Are you monogamous because that's what you want? Or are you participating in monogamy because you are compulsively doing so, because that's what you've been taught to do? These are important questions to ask yourself, and I'm not here to change your mind. I'm just here to make you think about it. If you learned something today, that's your own fault. I want to thank you so much for watching. You can always support my channel by liking, subscribing, or leaving a comment down below. My newest video is going to be on your right, and the video that YouTube seems to think you might like the best is going to be on your left. I hope you stick around and find something worth watching. Until next time.